at many a purchase contract, and I've helped people write many a purchase contract. And I just came up with these 19 questions that if I have these questions answered, I can pretty much fill out the purchase contract in about 10 minutes or less. So nothing fancy. I just call it 19 questions to write a purchase contract. And I believe you can see them on your screen, right?
Yep, we can see them.
Okay, so we're going to go through the questions, and we are going to answer them like we're going to make an offer on Nick's condo. Nick, what is the list price on your condo?
It's listed at $385.
Okay, so just for ease of writing this, we're going to say we talked to the buyer and the purchase price is going to be $400,000. The down payment amount will go 3%. Anybody know what 3% of 400,000 is?
12,000.
12,000.
Okay, $12,000. For that, sorry, that's for number 3. Down payment, we're going to do 30% down. So is that 120,000?
10% would be
Yeah,
40,000.
yeah.
30% is 120.
Oh, sorry. There you
So
go.
that's our down payment. Our earnest money is going to be
12,000.
12,000. Okay. For this offer, we're going to go with a conventional. Loan percentage rate, I've talked to my lender, and we're going to do 2.75%. My client wants 30-day escrow. This is a condo. Since it is a condo, we're not
I'm on
going
a
to
conference
ask.
call. I'm on a conference call.
We're not going to ask for termite, so no termite. Yes, there is an HOA. My MLS number is PW202-12245. I am not looking at the MLS right now, but normally I would be. Nick, is there a washer and dryer and refrigerator included?
There are.
Okay, so we're going to ask for all of those: washer, dryer, refrigerator. Pool or spa? No. Air conditioning?
Yes.
So AC. My client's full name, it's Brenda Beyer. And her email is brendabeyer@gmail.com. She is not buying this through a trust. Possession is going to be on the date of close of escrow. Shortening contingency periods, it is kind of a buyer rich market right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to lower these dates to 10 days for investigation. 15 days for appraisal. And I don't want to, but we'll do 17 days for loan. I already have my pre-approval and proof of funds to deliver with my offer. This is not a 1031 exchange on my side. but it is on the seller side.
Yep.
Okay. There are no leased or liened items. Okay, so we got those all down. I got the answers for all those questions. And I am going to switch my screen.
I think you're gonna have to do a reshare, maybe. Oh no, maybe not.
Hold on. This is always so much fun with multiple screens. Okay, what screen? There we go. Okay, so we're going to start a new file. It's a purchase contract. And a buyer, residential. And we're going to save. Okay, I didn't apply my template on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and just add a couple things. Okay. I'm going to click on my cover sheet. Put in Brenda's name. Okay. Then, as you all know, my favorite thing ever, MLS Connect. Can you see the MLS Connect square?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. PW 202-12245. I like to add the photos. I'm going to hit find. Correct address. Import. Import. I want it to write over everything. Yes. Okay. Obviously, we're going to use the template, so this information wouldn't have to be auto-populated. Okay, and as you saw, it brought forward all the information I needed right there. We're going to switch over to the purchase contract. Today's date, 400,000. 30-day escrow. $12,000. Loan with, what was it? 280. Okay, that matches. 2.75%. We're going to leave it at conventional. Okay. Appraisal. I am shortening this time period. 15. Loan 17. Okay, mind you, my template would have all this stuff right here. Done, but even so, it's still this Long Beach, so it's only county transfer tax. It's an HOA, so I'm going to click those and those. I'm going to click seller shall pay for. There is air conditioning. We want buyer's choice of options, buyer's agent to order, whoever your pick is, upgraded. Condo, I'm going to say 550. Okay, we want the stove, we want the refrigerator, we want the washer and dryer. There are no lease or liened items. We want to occupy on the date of close of escrow. And we're going to change this to 10, not 410. And there we go. Our contract's written and ready to send. Any questions? Is everybody on mute?
I don't see any questions so far.
I mean, it's taken me a long time to narrow it down. I know I went through that really fast, but these are the basic things that are pretty much the same, and they're the most important things in the contract. And over and over and over again, I need to know all these, the answers to all these questions.
Mhm.
And if I have these up front, like if I'm sitting with a client or I'm going to write the contract, if I just get all these answered, I know I can do that contract really fast.
I've got one question from Rosie asking if they can have the 19 questions from you.
Absolutely. I think I can actually upload. I made it into a PDF before we started, so
That'd be cool. Maybe share it in the chat here.
I'm going to share it in the chat.
That way, only
but
the people who watch it get to have the special stuff.
Right. But as always, you can email me. I just made my life so much easier when I did this. Okay, I uploaded it into the chat right now.
Thanks, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Other questions, guys, on this or anything about the RP that you want to ask questions of? We can also just go straight to Nikki. Did you have anything else, or we can just jump straight to open forum?
We can jump straight to open forum. I don't know why I didn't add the template to this, but as you can see, if I didn't have to type in those few little bits, it would have been even quicker to write this contract. But yeah, anything. Ask us anything.
I have a question.
Okay.
If the washer, dryer, and fridge are not included or excluded in the MLS, and you don't request them there, is there a chance to get them, or is that just like, you know, if the seller is willing to give it away at close of escrow?
Yeah, that would be only at the kindness of the seller. If
That's
it's
what I
not
thought.
written in there,
Okay.
you're not going to get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you guys refer in the contract to item 8A, if you go, I don't know, Nikki, if you want to scroll on there till 8, you get to 8A. But under there, it clearly states that if it's not included in this purchase agreement, it does not, no matter the advertising, it does not matter.
Mm.
So that's always something I point out to people when I'm talking about the RPA. It's like, listen, if it's not in here, it doesn't matter. And it clearly says that
Sure.
in item 8A. And I think they added that language in 2015 or one of the more recent revisions of this document. So I always point that out.
And
you.
remember that MLS is just marketing. So what it says in the MLS, unless it is in this contract, doesn't mean,
Is irrelevant, yeah, basically.
yeah.
In terms of contract, yeah.
Yeah, because they could advertise the property at 400,000 and, you know, said, oh, it includes the appliances. But if you write an offer at 385, you've now completely changed the terms of what you're offering, right? Which could affect them wanting to include the appliances. So that's why they put that in there, to be very specific around what offer is on the table is what really matters,
Sure.
aside from what marketing has been
I
delivered.
understand, yeah.
So
Just want to
And, you know,
verify.
this hasn't happened a lot, but I have had it a few times in my years where the realtor put in that the refrigerator was included, and the seller didn't really want to include it, but because the agent had put it on the contract, the seller had to include the refrigerator.
Mm,
So doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened enough times that if you want those items, you make sure that they're checked.
okay.
The other questions about the contract? Now, we all know that if the reason I have FHA, conventional, or VA on my questions is because if we're going to check the FHA loan, I'm going to need to add, the system actually added it for me, the FHA VA amendatory clause. And what you need to do on this form, you have to give this with your offer. You need to put in, I think the loan amount was 280,000 and the purchase price was 400. So you have to put in the purchase price here. Because what this says is that no matter what, if the property does not appraise for $400,000, the buyer does not have to buy it. And you have to give this with the offer. I know a lot of people, they're getting better, but if you have an FHA or VA loan, you need to let the seller know, and the seller has to agree to that kind of financing. And not to mention, the lenders on FHA and VA are going to ask for it, and they're getting pretty stickler about it. So you want to do that up front rather than later on. Another thing I want to just bring up, I know I hit on these a lot because usually if I talk about something a lot, it's because it happens a lot. If you're gonna give the seller 3 days, make sure you put in a time. If you don't put in this time right here, it means at 11:59 p.m. is when they get possession. Nobody wants to take possession basically at midnight.
Not
They'd
to
rather have
mention,
it.
not to mention what Nikki's telling you guys there under item 9.2, nobody's going ahead and including an SIP form either, which I find so weird. So anytime you have a lease back under 29 days, it could be for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever, you need an SIP as well. And it's on the next page. And that outlines a lot of the concerns that we generally have, like renter's insurance and who pays for utilities and like all of that stuff. So I think that that's another very important form that needs to always be in your file the minute you're having a lease back. I can't tell you how many times I talk to an agent who's been doing this 20, 25 years, 30 years, and they're like, well, it's only 3 days. I don't need an SIP. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's only a 1-page form. It's super simple. And it just outlines a lot of the concerns we would have if something were to go wrong, even during a short-term lease back period. So
if you noticed, when I clicked SIP, it added that form for me to my transaction. There it is right there.
And just to be clear, Nikki, that section 9, that's if it's after the close of escrow, if they needed extra days, right? 3 extra days,
Right.
is that when you would do
Correct.
that? Otherwise, just close of escrow, you can leave it blank. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct. It defaults to 6 p.m. on the date of close of escrow. And you know, it's really funny lately. I don't know why. I've had other agents, not from our office, of course, that want possession exactly when it records. But possession in the contract is 6 o'clock p.m. It's not noon. It's not 4. It's not right at recording. It's at 6 o'clock p.m.
On the last day, on the closing day of escrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just to explain that, Nikki, because I was taught that way too. I was taught I would actually write in there instead of the 6 p.m. I would write on upon confirmed recording. So the reason I did that was because sometimes the property would close early in the day. You know what I mean? It would close at like,
Mhm.
11 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. And the reason why I would always put that in there, or at least I was taught that way, was because I wanted to be able to get keys from my client before the meeting came. So that was why you might see that, or why agents are doing that. But I don't, also now looking back at that way I was taught, I don't know if there is a reason why you would need to do it earlier than 6 p.m. But I don't know.
It's not, I haven't had the problem with like 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., but I have had quite a few things recently where they were like 9 a.m., we want the keys, and the property hasn't recorded yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden, but it does seem to be happening. You can change it right here, and you can say 4 p.m. or whatever
Nap
you
time,
want.
right?
But just make sure that you check the times on here. And then the other thing, if you're going to do an SIP for 3 days, just send it with the offer. If you're going to do a longer than 3 days or maybe 5 days, if it's getting closer to a month, I would check this box, but I wouldn't necessarily send that right away. If that makes sense. I'd put in here, 28 days or 45 days, but I wouldn't send that with the offer, because sometimes by the end of escrow, that time changes a lot. And I find lately everybody's scrambling, writing SIPs and RLAS and another RLAS because they tried to make that too early in a transaction. It's better to wait around day like 17 when you've figured out if the loan's going through, if you're going to close on time. Anything else? Oh, here's another one. If you're going to add furniture right here in this 8B3, the lender's going to make you take it out of the contract. So it is much better to do a bill of sale or something that's not on the contract if you want furniture. Lenders don't lend on furniture, they only lend on homes.
Are there any other questions on anything else, even besides the contract? I know some people get on this call to ask other questions too.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How to do a net sheet? Is there a net sheet form in zip forms, or how do we do that? Do we need specific information from the client before we help fill out a net sheet?
Is it for a buyer or a seller?
Seller.
Yeah, so I mean, typically for a seller, I'll go ahead and do you guys have a set list price already, or are you going to be going on an appointment?
That's going on an appointment. That's kind of what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, so usually I'll do it within an incremental thing for a seller. If I feel like their house is worth, let's just say $500,000, then I'll get, maybe a sheet for like 475, 500, and 525, just kind of around that number.
Mhm.
That's just to kind of give you a rough idea. But yeah, you got to know an end sales price. There's a lot of apps, by the way. Most of the title apps out there, like Title Toolbox and different programs I've seen that can be done on your phone, have net sheet apps for you built in there.
Oh, wow. Where is that?
I cannot remember. If you reach out to any of our title companies that we work with, SKG Team or Tycor Title, LES saying, or even Orange Coast, all of them have their own title app. And I know that the net sheets are typically built into that app. So reach out to one of them and get the app and get the info on it. They can set you up with an account. But my point being that you need to know the purchase price. Typically, you want to have an idea of like their payoff amount. You don't have to, if they have a loan on it, usually it's good to have an idea of like their payoff amount.
Mhm.
usually if you look at title or public records, you can kind of figure out that number, you know, over time. If they bought the house 5, you know, years ago or 10 years ago, you can usually kind of try to amortize that out to figure out how much they still owe on it. And then you want to put your commission on there. You want to make sure you maybe put a little bit on there for maybe, I don't know, in this market, if you want to include termite or not. You know, a lot of times escrow will say, how much do you want to include for termite? In this market, I know a lot of sellers are getting away with not having to do termite. And then obviously maybe some retrofit on there as well. If there's like, you know, well, I guess there's no retrofit. Where's the property located?
On Lakewood.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that either. So Nikki, am I missing anything? I can't think of anything else that you'd need to know.
For closing costs, like I know a buyer is about 1% of the purchase price. Would you do about the same? Isn't it a little more for the seller?
Usually sellers
Well,
are between 7 and 8% because buyers are 1 to 2 and as like a rule of thumb. It can always be different than that, but usually buyers are 1 to 2% and sellers are 7 to 8% because they also pay commission.
Got it. Oh, that includes the commission part, though.
Yeah.
The commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else you would add on that, Nikki?
No.
Is there
Isn't there a net sheet in Power too?
Yeah.
I think
you're
I've
right.
done it through there as well.
Yeah, at the top of this screen, there's title toolbox. That's what I was saying. So if you click on title toolbox, right when you guys go into your PWR landing page,
Uh-huh.
you can go in there and play with it
Oh, wow. Cool.
from that end. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. I'll do that. Thanks, guys.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
No. Is it me? I always feel like nobody ever has any questions.
I have too many questions.
Yeah, you do, Lauren.
Maybe stop sharing your screen, Nikki.
Stop sharing it. Okay.
Yeah, for a second.
Okay.
Christy just joined us. Hi, Christy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh yeah.
I'm good. I just went and had my eyebrows waxed, guys.
Ooh, that's feisty. Okay, good for you.
I know.
I was just going to show this really quick. Nick, hold on one sec.
Go for it.
Lauren, see the title toolbox up here on the very far left? Net
Yes.
sheets and property profiles.
Oh my gosh, how funny. It's like you see it all the time and I never realized that's what that was. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Beautiful. Anything else, guys? Any other situational issues that you guys are having on your deals? Or prospecting questions? Are we all zoomed out? That could be possible.
I have one question. Between that landlord tenant issue of mine with my client has the house and is going to sell it. So she's dealing with an attorney now. What is my role now from kind of like, I helped her get in contact with this attorney and now they're doing their thing. What do I kind of do? Like, what's my role? Do I check in with one or the other, or do I completely, you know what I mean?
I think in any client, service industry, you just want to check in with your client just to make sure they're doing okay. I mean, that to me would just be my suggestion. I don't really know if you have a role or a responsibility though. I mean, if they're checking in now with an attorney and getting legal advice that way, that's usually where we kind of bow out a little bit more.
I don't contact the attorney at all or anything like that now.
No, I'd prefer that you didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I prefer that you kind of washed your hands of it a little bit more. But again, always, be there for your client. Just make sure that you're not giving legal advice or anything like that. That's the biggest thing. Don't try to contradict anything the attorney says or anything that's happening right there. Just kind of let that relationship be. Is that cool?
Yes. Thanks.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. Yeah, those kind of situations are sticky, and people love to lean on us because they think that we have all the answers, but there is a line that we have to draw at some point, especially when legal gets involved. So it's kind of like, now that person does that job. Anything else, guys? Anything else going on? Does anybody, this is probably going to sound really, really silly, but does anybody like to save money? Anybody like to just save? No, but I mean like not like save like you get 5% off or whatever. I mean like, do you like to just save money, like organically just save? Okay.
Yes.
Have you guys heard of an app? I think maybe I've mentioned this in the past. I just love the app so much. It's called Acorns.
Mm-mm.
You've heard of it, Rosie?
Nope.
Do you have it? Does anybody on this call have it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you do? Okay. Okay, cool. Do you like it, Rosie? And there you go. We can't hear you.
I'm unmuted.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I got it a while ago. I think one of my friends recommended it, but I kind of gave up on it after about a month. But it was a while ago I got it. But, you know, if you're saying it's good.
Well, here's what it's great for. And I know this is super not real estate related, but I feel like we're always in business to make money. And so this is just like an added thing you can do to make money. If you download the Acorns app, it literally, I'll show it on my screen real quick. It literally looks like this, like a little acorn, right? Little acorn thing. That's what it looks like. Okay, whatever. Anyways, it's the only app out there with green with a little white acorn on it. You can't miss it. But the point is it lets you do a reoccurring investment. So if you save money every single month, instead of just putting into a savings account because interest rates have gotten so low that you can't put your money anywhere and make money on it. Like you really can't unless you invest it or do something with it. And the stock market is super volatile, but when you invest, it's been proven if you invest in, any market or anything over time, there's a positive outcome on the other side of it. So Acorns is a really cool app. It basically gives you different portfolios that you can assign your money to, but it does a weekly or monthly or however often you want to do a distribution of funds from your checking or whatever into this account, and it invested in the market. You collect dividends. It also has an entire arsenal of products that you actually can buy. So if you shop frequently on like eBay or Overstock.com or Home Depot, Lowe's, there's all kinds of different companies on there that actually give you a discounted fee when you actually buy product through them. So they'll invest money into your Acorns portfolio when you spend through the app. So it's really cool. So, and a lot of the places that they partner with are already things that you'd normally buy on a regular basis. So I've noticed I've actually made a crap ton of money just like having it on autopilot. And it also it invests my spare change. So it does this thing called roundups. So as I'm spending money at the grocery store, if I spend $4.25, that's 75 cents that would have made it a $5 purchase gets invested into my app for me. So I'm telling you, it's one of those kind of like set it and forget it kind of things. And maybe that's why Rosie gave up on it, because she goes, this thing sucks. You got to give it time. But I've noticed, like, I looked over my shoulder a year later and I was like, holy crap. My spare change added up to like a lot of money, and it's just sitting there, like, and you can take it out, you can do whatever you with it. There's no bond, there's no contract. It's nothing like that. So I highly encourage you guys to give that a shot. I've gotten really heavily into like the investment side of things the last couple of years of my life. And I think it's really fascinating when you can have like a little buddy helping you out with stuff like that.
Nick, do you have Robinhood as well?
I do.
I have that too. I think Robinhood's great.
I think Robinhood's amazing. Yeah, Robinhood's amazing. For those of you who don't know what Robinhood is, that's a free stock market trading app. So if you are interested in getting into the stock market or doing stuff, Robinhood is like, it's probably the quintessential like millennial stock market app. So if you're looking for something different than like the E-Trade world or the Vanguard world or stuff like that, this is the more modernized version. You can buy crypto on there. You can buy, single company stocks, all that stuff.
Make it so easy.
Somebody's asking for Dave Ramsey training from Gen Blue, which I highly recommend if you guys have not watched it. You can find it on your CBU Learning Center. Let me actually grab that link for you guys. And I can share it with you, no problem. I'm getting a lot of calls from Pennsylvania today, and I don't know why. I don't know anybody in Pennsylvania.
I have a question, Nick.
Go for it. Yeah, I'm gonna.
What do you know about appraisal waivers?
How much down does your client have?
20%.
Yeah. So it depends. It's basically anything 20% or greater. Lately, I'm seeing them quite frequently. It's one thing that's become super common, especially during COVID, so that they don't actually have to go out there. It's
Okay.
also something that they're doing right now with because there's such an influx with like refis and things like that. So there's so much business in the appraisal world that they're trying to find ways that, you know, lenders will allow for an actual appraisal to not take place. So when you're under 20% down, it's almost non-existent to get an appraisal waiver, but we are seeing it very frequently with 20% down or greater type loan products where they're not.
If you get a waiver, Nick, what are the odds that something goes weird and then they decide not to give you the waiver? Or once you get in a waiver, you have it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if they've granted you a waiver, you should be good to go.
Yeah, I was concerned about that because my last 2 transactions, I had a waiver also on the purchase and the sale. And I was worried until the last minute and say, what about if the market changed and something happened and they realize, oh my God, you know, we're going to lose money on the transaction, you know, maybe we should get an appraisal, but nothing happened.
Okay, good. The reason I asked that is because the lender said to me, oh, we're okay with the waiver, but I want to be sure. And I just thought that was the way she worded it was strange. That's why I was asking. Thank you.
The appraiser said that?
No, the lender. The lender is the one who said we're going to get a waiver. We're getting a waiver.
Oh, okay. I mean, an appraisal waiver is a good thing. Typically, it just means that they don't need to necessarily go through that part of the process. They obviously have faith in the market.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, the more of those that we see, the more faith I have in 2021, I'll tell you. So that's good. It's good to do that kind of stuff, honestly.
Cool.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
Hey, Nick, have I missed a class on appraisals by chance? I feel like I just do not know enough about, and when it comes to listing or like setting listing price and stuff, I just feel lost. Like I don't know what to do.
Did you hear me kind of ramble on Monday when I was talking about the appraisal, how I did to prep for the appraisal and whatnot with the Monday new agent training? Were you there Monday? I think you were. Yeah.
Wasn't it we were doing like a CMA, no?
I was there talking about how to prepare for a CMA and what to include and what not to include. And then I was there. I was listening to that. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I actually just was working with an agent who's been in the business like 20 plus years just before this class. And she was asking me about comps for a building in downtown LA, like a condo building. And the truth was there's no comps. There's just no comps. So what we started to do was there's nothing in the building and there's nothing even around it. So the question becomes what's like it enough and what really are the wow factors of this property, even within like a half a mile or a mile radius. You know, you kind of have to shift your criteria the harder it becomes, right? Yeah. So with a condo, my golden rule is stay in the building. Even if you have to go back a year, stay in the building. But if you can't, then you got to go outside of it. And then you got to find buildings that are like it. And that was the other thing I was looking, I think it was a it was one of those 19 like 50s retro buildings downtown Long Beach. So I said, let's find retro and then let's find stuff that's also of the same condition, same bed and bath count, that kind of thing. And that's what we did. And, you know, she had a couple of wow factors. The other big question with appraisals I get is how much money do you give to a view, or how much money do you give to a killer pool, or how much money do you give, like her, in her situation, she's going to have the only condo that I could find in all of downtown Long Beach with a 2-car garage, private garage. Wow. It's like, and in downtown Long Beach, that's like gold. I'm like having a 2-car private garage in downtown LA with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. I was like, oh my gosh. So we were trying to really figure out what would the premium be on that compared to what else is in the area that's relative. So it's just a conversation. It's always different. You know, I've heard enough appraisers speak at sales meetings and, you know, talk to me when I don't understand why they did what they did on my deal. And again, they always tell me the same thing. It's always different. And there's no way to give you like a blanket reason. like as to why something should be the way it is. It's all based off of data with how they interpret that data. The classic thing that you have to understand is an appraisal is an opinion of value. And that's literally what it is. It's an opinion.
Mhm.
And that's what's the hardest part about them. So whenever you have one, Lauren, that you're struggling with, I'm always happy to look at it with you to kind of help you get comfortable with an idea, you know. But again, I'm going to give you my opinion, you
Right.
know, whatever that's worth, I'm going to give it to you, you know. So
Yeah, I have a client that I'm going, it's kind of a listing appointment for on Saturday. And he said he had it appraised a while ago for a certain amount. And but what I'm seeing around, when you see something close by and you draw the map, I mean, I know you don't go by anything exactly. You just use all these pieces of the puzzle to make it, you know, whole. I get that. But if you've got more options to look at that were a little bit longer ago than something that's more current, there's a couple things that are more current. Do you go by the majority, which is like a little longer ago? By long ago, I mean like between now and like April or something like that? Or do you go by what's a little more recent and being like things that are active right now?
you know, solds always carry more weight than actives. So I always try to, the weight's going to be with the sold property, right? So I would try to figure out where the volume of the solds is going, or where it is, where it's most recent is obviously going to be more impactful than in the past, right? So April's still pretty relevant. It was in the middle of COVID, you know, so I think that anything, again, 6 months ago, wouldn't that have been April? Yeah, 6 months. Well, kind of, right? We're on that teetering now. It's getting further and further away. But my point is that to me would still be relevant information, in my opinion. You know, I always try to stay within 6 months. If I have to go back 9 months, I'll go back 9 months. And again, I always try to stay as close as I can, and then I start to branch out. So you kind of play with it until you feel like it's relevant. I guess you as the realtor, Lauren, have to ask yourself, is this relevant?
Right.
And if you can truthfully think this is a relevant comp for this reason, then that's what I would tell you to go with your gut. But I'm happy to look at it and see what you're, you know, working on.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Anybody else doing anything? Anybody else having any luck with prospecting in any particular way? I'm curious. And then a hush fell over the crowd.
The client that I'm talking about is actually a for sale by owner at the moment.
Ooh,
Nice.
interesting.
How'd you get that guy, Lauren?
Just kind of looking around, and then I call once in a while.
Nice.
Because there aren't many around here. But I called him yesterday. Actually, I think I might have called him like a week ago, and then I called him yesterday. I didn't leave a message, and he called back, and he was super like kind of abrupt and like rough, and he was telling me how like he's had so many people coming, you know, realtors getting a hold of him, of course, blah, blah, blah. And all I was doing is I was just kind of being agreeable, and I was trying to be, you know, like respectful and understandable. And, you know, and when I'm calling, I'm just kind of trying to see if I can get a preview of the place to not really necessarily list it. So like I'd said to him, I didn't even say necessarily, I said, I'm not even calling to list. I'm just wanting to come and preview to kind of get an idea of what's around the market and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, honestly, Lauren, I'm going to tell you right now, if you can get my friends X amount of dollars, this amount of money, he goes, the listing's yours. And he's the one that I was just telling you about, Nick, is they appraised it for like, his friends need 580. He goes, if you can get more out of it for you, he goes, the listing's yours. And I was like, okay, so I've been doing all day kind of trying to find some like comps and stuff in the area. And there's a bunch from, you know, a couple, 3-4 months ago that were in the high 5s. And then there's a couple now that are like in the low 6s. So I'm just kind of trying to see where to go, how to go, even if it's even you know, worth it. You know, like, is it even worth it kind of a thing? So, you know, I've been kind of going that route a little bit when I have time.
Okay. Well, gosh, for sale by owners, guys, there you go. That's a classic one right there. that's a classic one. That goes right up there with expireds and farming and all that jazz. So that's amazing. Good for you, sweetheart. Yeah, I think when you were asking earlier about the seller's net sheet, bring that with you. And just try to, pencil it and make sure that you can make it make sense for them. Sounds like they need to net 580. It sounds like to me. So,
right. And so that means that like everything needs to be off the top, and that's what they literally walk away with. That's what that means, right?
That's what it sounds like to me, but I don't know if they know what 580 means. So you got to get clarity around that. You know what I mean? Because if there's a loan on it, and there could be a lot of factors to that. So I don't know, but clear when you tell them, when you say 580, you mean 580 sales price? You mean they need to walk away with $580,000 cash? Because if they have almost any form of loan that I can think of, they're probably going to
couple different
not walk away with 580 in any situation, most likely if they have a loan. But if it's paid off, then that's definitely a possibility. It sounds like to me.
So when trying to price it, then I would take that 580 and then I would add say 6%. And then would I add anything more on top of that to kind of check the comps out other than what a commission would be?
I would just do a golden rule of like 7 to 8% just to be safe. On whatever price that you end up coming up with, just to make sure that you can make it make sense. But if you're telling me you got comps in the low 600s, if you do 7 to 8% on top of 580, it's you're not far off. So I feel
like what did I say? Like 611 or something like that.
Yeah, but properties right now are pushing the market, so I think you could probably make it work. It sounds like it would pencil, in my opinion. It
was just appraised in September for 580. It's like I don't want to screw it up,
Well, appraisers too. I'll say this: when appraisers are appraising property and they don't have anything to shoot for, they're just kind of appraising it to see the general value. They're kind of shooting in the dark, in my opinion, because they don't have anybody willing to pay that for that property. They're kind of just taking the general info and creating it. I've never been a fan of appraisals just because I've never thought that was a great idea.
Honestly, they just make me so nervous. It's the one part of real estate that I feel like it makes me like want to cry. It makes me nervous on both sides.
Hey, you should be happy. You got a for sale by owner to dig your show. Why don't you just go do it?
But why is he it's yours if you can get my friend's X amount of dollars? Like, why is he saying that? There has to be a catch.
No, that's just what they need. That's not a catch. That's just hey, this is what I need. Can you make this happen? You get to have the opportunity to say, yes, I can make that happen for you. Here, let's sit down and get the contract signed and market your property. And you just got to be the realtor and say, if you need 580, what does 580 mean? You need to get clarity on that, because I don't think we all know what 580 means.
Right.
Cash, 580 sales price. Like, have they already done the math? And so we need to figure out the 580 thing. Is the 580 just because they got an appraisal in September? Like, there's not enough clarity there, because I think the conversation for me with a seller is always, what do you need to net? That's always the conversation for me. Like, yeah, I'm going to list your house at $1 million, but they might have a huge loan on it. So I'm like, you want to walk away with 400,000? Is that what you're trying to do? You need to walk away with 450. What do you need to walk away with is the question. I think, and also what is this leapfrogging them into as well? That's another conversation. Where are they going? Focus on that conversation more than anything else. But yeah, have those talks with them, get clarity on the 580 and go from there, but no, be happy. Don't feel, I mean, you're going to feel insecure if you're going to feel insecure about it, but I would be stoked that you have somebody, a for sale by owner, especially in this market, wanting to talk to you and saying, hey, make this happen at this. That's a for sale by owner's way of saying you've got the listing, just make it happen.
So then
yeah,
I'll tell you how it goes.
You got it, Miss Lauren, don't worry about it.
Thanks, Nick.
Anything else, guys? Well, thanks for the random talks today. I appreciate it. I know some of you like, where did this go? That was weird. But think about that for sale by owners. It's funny. When we were teaching AMP, I'll tell you guys this before I let you go. I was teaching AMP, and one of the weeks was prospecting, and I had to go actually as the instructor and look and see, where do you find for sale by owners? Like, that was my homework to deliver to you guys. And I just went on something as simple as Zillow and looked at for sale by owners. And there were literally 20 or 25 houses that were for sale by owners that are just still sitting there. Now, again, I didn't reach out to them. I don't know what's going on. but there were 25 addresses just on Zillow. And again, I know that that means that anybody can reach out and call and be obnoxious to these guys. But just like Lauren said, this guy goes, oh, a bunch of realtors and then I'm disappointed, and all of
They
that.
threw you out, some of them.
They're all going to have that excuse. And what's funny is Lauren used a very classic script. I'm not here to sell your house. I'm just here to look inside your house and understand what you've got going on in case I do have somebody. That's all she did, which is like, honestly, the most classic script for sale by owners. I love it. Tom Ferry's been teaching on that for a long time. So
one thing to your Zillow thing, Nick, just to let you know, in the
Yeah.
last couple days, Zillow and Trulia took away for sale by owner phone numbers.
Oh, that sucks.
Does that not suck or what?
well,
That sucks.
I say go knock.
Ooh, not right now.
Here's one way of thinking about it. I just thought of something else in case you're nervous, Lauren. You're there to fix a problem. Just remember that, right? You're there to fix a problem. And hey, what better way for people to stop calling for you to say, or for them to say, I already got somebody. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's you.
Well, and I literally was like, I'm not calling you for the listing. And then I'm thinking, okay, Lauren, now I'm telling them I don't want it. You know, I'm like, what the fudge am I doing?
Get out of your head.
I know.
Yeah.
Get out. You
Call
got
me. I'll give you a pep talk.
Or if you want to come to Seal Beach, I'll just slap you. That'll be great.
Oh, I was going to share something with you guys. That Faust, the Faust house that I have right now.
Yeah.
I got that off of my sign, guys. The guy called me. He said, off of my Daisy location. He called and asked me about that home. Obviously, it was when he called me, it was in escrow already. And so I just said, you know what? Unfortunately, it is it's in escrow right now. However, I have some other really great properties I'd love to show you. And we just went from there, and we're in escrow. And I know it doesn't happen like very much, obviously, but I guess just number one, always answer your phone. And number two, just be ready for, you never know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
So kind of a cool little
That's
fun thing.
amazing. Yeah, it's funny. I think buyers right now maybe are tired of also searching online. So when they're out driving, to actually get a real live realtor who's got something going on somewhere. So you never know, Lauren, the power of a for sale sign could be more than ever right now too. So just to get that listing to have your sign in the front yard could be so powerful for you.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think you'll sell it. I really do.
Thanks. Well, maybe I'll come by Seal Beach tomorrow if I have a second just to pick your brain.
Okay, cool. No, please do. All right, guys. Well, again, have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in. And big thank you. Niki jumped off, but big thanks to Niki for doing her 19 questions. That was kind of fun. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, have a good Thursday.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.